Remember when I thought June was going to be a quiet month? And then July was even busier? Yeah, me too. Hello, Cozy Gamers, and welcome back to the Cozy Gaming Club, where we talk about all the latest and greatest cozy games. I'm Ellie, and today I'm going to be taking you through all of the cozy games I played in June and July. It has taken me a while to put this video together, but there's a lot of games to cover. I want to preface this by saying that these are my personal reviews and you can disagree with them. In fact, I love it when you do. Let me know what you thought of these games in the comments, and if you've played something that I haven't, then let me know about that too. And as always, if a game was gifted to me, I'll make sure to say so in the video, and it'll be in the description as well. Cool, so without further ado, let's kick things off with a cute sushi restaurant management game called Rolling Hills. In this game, you play as an adorable robot who dreams of becoming a sushi chef. You move to a town with the goal of working in a restaurant, only to discover the town is much smaller than you expected, and you'd essentially be starting from scratch. Start small with only 3 recipes and 2 tables, and over time you'll be able to expand your restaurant and turn it into a can't-miss culinary hotspot. On paper, Rolling Hills sounds like the perfect game for me. I love cooking games, I love management games, I love cute little robots, and I was really excited to try this one out. Sadly, I realized quite quickly that despite saying make sushi in the title of the game, you don't actually make the sushi. You just press a button and it appears ready for you to deliver to your customers. I was a little disappointed in this aspect of the game, especially as you have no control over what sushi is delivered, which means you may need to press the button multiple times to get the dish you actually need, and there's a cooldown each time you do. Despite that though, I never had any difficulty delivering sushi to my customers because the game is incredibly easy. Every wave of customers is quite tame and easy to manage, and as I upgraded my meals and added new furniture to my restaurant to improve their patience, it just became even easier. The hardest part was actually giving the right dish to a customer when there were 2 people sitting at one table. There is a little complexity added over time, like customers falling asleep, or trying to take flash photos of your cute little sushi bot, which will stun you, but I never really found it too difficult. The best part of this game is definitely the customization, both for your menu and your restaurant. By visiting the grocery store, you can buy new ingredients to add to your recipes that will give them an additional attribute, like making them more expensive or a higher quality. This lets you customize your menu a little to suit your playstyle, although when it comes to serving customers dishes of an incorrect quality or even flavor, I didn't find that affected the gameplay that much. As for your restaurant, you can buy furniture for decoration that does a similar thing, whether that's increasing patience, earning you more money, or increasing the amount of reputation you earn per customer. There are lots of different types of furniture and they all look really cute, but sometimes you need to sacrifice making your restaurant look nice in favor of an item with better attributes, which is really sad. Outside of your restaurant, there's a small town with not much to do, if I'm being honest. There are 3 or so locations that you can actually enter, and a lot of locations with locked doors. There are only a couple of townsfolk you can chat to, and while hanging out with them does improve your friendship level and give you additional bonuses, it does feel a little lackluster. All you need to do is pay $100 every day to increase your relationship. Overall, as you can probably tell, I didn't really enjoy this one as much as I wanted to. If you're looking for something a little bit simple that you can switch off to after a long day at work, then maybe this will be the game for you. Our next game is one that I really enjoyed, which is probably to be expected, as I love the coffee talk games and I'm a big Dungeons & Dragons fan. This game is of course Tavern Talk, and I've got a full in-depth review up on my channel, which I've linked above. I'll do my best to summarize it here though. I was kindly gifted a key to check this out ahead of launch, but I did also back the Kickstarter. Tavern Talk is, at the end of the day, a visual novel. So if you're not into long conversations with recurring characters, then this probably won't be the game for you. But if you do like well-written dialogue and character development, then keep listening. Each character seems to represent one of the different classes in Dungeons & Dragons, with a ranger and a rogue who are soon joined by a bard, a cleric, and a barbarian. At the start, I thought they were maybe sticking too closely to these archetypes, but as the story goes on, you'll really see their characters develop as you send them on quests and they begin to open up to you. I also wanted to give a big shout out to the diversity of the characters while we're on this topic. Yes, we're in a fantasy world, so there are humanoid cat characters and humanoid bushes. But we've also got pronouns and characters who have disabilities, which is so refreshing to see. Drink mixing is another major part of Tavern Talk, where your adventurers will ask you for something to not only quench their thirst, but also raise their stats. As you play through the game, you'll unlock a variety of infusions, which can be used to make more difficult recipes and also gift your adventurers with special abilities like fire resistance and invisibility. The real star of the show in this game is definitely the writing, though. From the different personalities of the characters to the overarching plotline, everything is so well written and really makes the world of Tavern Talk come to life. The worst, or best, part is that the choices you make throughout the game will change the ending. And there are bad endings as well that may leave you a little emotional. I really recommend it, especially to fans of Toffee Talk and Dungeons & Dragons. It was a much longer game than I was expecting it to be as well. It took me 12 hours to finish my first playthrough, and I played most of it on my Steam Deck, which works great. You can also change the size of the text to make it easier to read, just in case you're worrying about that tiny screen. Fireside is described as an uplifting narrative experience about a journey and the breaks that follow it. Hike through a magical, hand-drawn world, travelling between campsites and encountering a diverse cast of fellow travellers during nightly campfires. As you play through the game, you can trade items with others to either cook them, use them to upgrade your home, or trade them for something else. The idea of this game sounded really wholesome, and I was excited to make friends and explore this hand-painted world. But I think for a game that is described as cute and relaxing, it actually ends up being more like a roguelike. Essentially, you can only stay on the island for 5 days at a time before you're teleported back to the place that serves as your home base. But when you're returned home, you can only bring back 1 or 2 items and lose everything else, which isn't great. Admittedly, there are other ways to send items back to your home at certain places on the map, but that means you have to factor visiting those locations into your already limited days on the island. Over time, you'll be able to upgrade your time spent on the island, as well as how many items you'll be able to send home or bring back home with you, which does make it easier. Fireside is also very text-heavy, but rewards you with heartfelt stories from the many travellers you'll meet on your journey. Trading with other travellers at the campsite will also give you an opportunity to get to know them better, and by chatting to them and learning what they need, you can eventually ease their troubles. There's also cooking to contend with, and you can learn new recipes from the people you meet, as well as a whole map to explore. I also love the design of all the different characters. They were so fun to meet and discover. But the roguelike elements of Fireside just made it an unenjoyable experience for me, and I ended up deciding not to finish after 2 hours of gameplay. This game sounds literally perfect for me. After all, it's a cooking game about magic and dragons. While it does have platforming elements, I was still really optimistic about Magical Delicacy and so excited for its release. I even streamed it for my members. Sadly though, it didn't quite hit the mark for me. The cooking portion of the game was much smaller than I was expecting, and I found in the early game I was constantly out of money. I was buying so many ingredients from the various shops, yet not really making that much from sales, especially when I was wasting a ton of ingredients trying to work out how to make the recipes they wanted. Admittedly, you can sell your failures in the store using the window, but you can't leave the shop while doing that, and it can take quite some time if you're trying to make money. Finding my way around the map was also incredibly difficult. I feel like the map could have been designed a bit better to show the different pathways you can take. Also, the fact you have to pay money to add shops and places of interest onto the map feels a bit redundant, especially when you're already so short of money in the early game. By the time you can afford to buy the upgrade, you've already learned your way around. Or you're sacrificing money that could be spent on ingredients for your recipes. There's also the option to buy an upgrade that shows you where people are on the maps, which I think was a little bit better, but is still something that many games already have as a default. I also felt like there wasn't enough direction in this game for me either. It's not really clear how to continue the main storyline, and you get such a huge variety of quests to cook different items that it's hard to know which ones to focus on with your already limited ingredients. Plus, I was also constantly limited on how many ingredients I could carry, and even after buying storage for my house, I quickly filled that up too. When you've got to travel, and not just travel but platform, across the entire map to buy more ingredients, I'd prefer being able to stockpile them all. I really wanted to enjoy this one, but the Metroidvania portion of the gameplay made it a bit too grueling an experience for me. And sadly, this is another one I ended up not finishing. Have you tried this one though? I would love to hear your thoughts. In this next game, you play as a photographer trying to discover the truth of his mother's disappearance. She's left him a series of letters and photographs of her adventures, and by recreating them, he can follow in her footsteps. One of my favourite games of all time is Toem, which also focuses on photography puzzles, and I've been searching for a game like that for a long time. So admittedly, I knew very little about the Star Named EOS before going into the game, and I would definitely recommend playing it like this if you do decide to play. Click your way around various rooms and find the items you need to recreate the photos your mother has sent you. At times, this game definitely felt like an escape room, where you need to solve a series of puzzles to open boxes and drawers and find all the required items. These puzzles were a lot more challenging than I was expecting though, and I do wish the game had some sort of puzzle hint system, as there were many times when I could not tell what I was missing, and had to resort to Googling my way out. This game is also beautiful, and I was so surprised by the emotional ending. It is definitely on the short side, depending on how quickly you can figure out the puzzles. It took me less than 2 hours to complete it, so some players may want to wait for the sale. But I did really enjoy the puzzles and the story. Early access games can be a mixed bag, with some full of bugs and others feeling like a complete release from the get-go. Go-Go Town falls somewhere in the middle for me personally. In Go-Go Town, you play as the new mayor for a rundown town who is tasked with bringing it back to life and encouraging villagers to move in. Now, I love city building games where you start tiny and build it up gradually over time, so this game was exactly my cup of tea. It also looks so bright and colourful, and everything is so cute as well, from the tiny donut plants to the different stores that you can unlock. Also, you can high-five all of your animals, which is just incredible. You can also go fishing, woodcutting, and mining, and if that gets too repetitive, you can hire some of your townies to do it for you. There are also a range of vehicles that you can drive around town, like a bike, a skateboard, and a truck. Honestly, it's such a fun game, and there are a lot of things to love about it. I also didn't encounter any bugs in my 6 hours of gameplay, and it works perfectly on the Steam Deck as well. I can't wait to play more of it as they continue development. If you've ever played Spot the Difference games as a kid, then the gameplay for this next game is going to be very familiar. Broken Lens is a game about a little robot with, funnily enough, a broken lens that changes the way it sees the world around it. Each level is split into 2, and there are a number of differences for you to discover in each one. Some of these are quite easy to spot, while others can elude you for ages. But thankfully the devs have added a hint system to the game that highlights the area where the difference is located. Sometimes I did wish this was more precise though, or that it shrunk over time to indicate the object better, as it took me way too long to find some of them, even with the helpful hint. The levels are also such a treat to look at, and many of them wouldn't go amiss as a computer wallpaper. There are multiple layers in the foreground and background to inspect, adorable critters, and bright colour schemes to capture your eyes. There are also book pages to discover as well in every level, and by piecing them together you can slowly uncover the backstory of the game. It's so impressive how much of the story is shared through these images without saying any words, and it was interesting trying to work out what's happening. At £5.89, Broken Lens really isn't that much money at all, and it's a good little puzzle game, although quite difficult. We have another early access game up next, and that game is called Into the Emberlands. In this cozy game, you play as a light bearer who must venture outside of the safety of your town to save lost villagers and collect resources. A mysterious miasma covers everything in sight though, and it's only with the light of your lantern that you can clear it. Collect ember from your village and head out into the mist, but with every step you take, you deplete your ember, bringing you ever closer to darkness. Firstly, I love the art style for this game. I love the bright colours and how creative all the animals you meet on your journey are, from the giant chickens to the trolls. It was also fun completing all of the quests and rebuilding my town to accommodate all the lost villagers. But once again, I find myself trying a game that's described as a cozy roguelite and not enjoying it. Your miasma depleting as you explore is very nerve-inducing, and when you run out, you don't just respawn back at town. You also lose all of your resources, your upgrades, and any villagers who you hadn't built a home for yet. There's no storage apart from your inventory bar, which makes it difficult to complete resource runs, and means you've got to be picky about the items you pick up and the ones you leave behind. Having said that though, it's not overly difficult as long as you manage your ember well. I only played for an hour or two before stopping as I found it was getting a little repetitive. That's the roguelike elements. But it's only £5.50 if you want to give it a go. This next game is also an early access game, but it has received so much love from almost everyone who has played it. Ova Magica was also kindly gifted to me by the developers ahead of launch, and I put together an overview of my first 7 days in the game if you want to check it out and see what the gameplay is like. The developers described this game as Stardew Valley meets Pokemon, and I'm definitely getting Slime Rancher vibes from it as well with the cute little blobs. The character art is incredible. I really love the art style and the designs of all the character portraits. Although I am not a huge fan of the chibi characters, but I also don't hate them. There are 12 romanceable characters, and unlike other games where I kind of ignore the NPCs apart from the one I'm romancing, in Ova Magica you're encouraged to befriend all of them to unlock new buildings for your town, which is a really cool touch. One of the things that appealed to me the most about Ova Magica is how many events there are in a game. So in this game, there are only 3 seasons, and each season only has 4 days. But that does mean there's a festival every single week for you to take part in. But on the other hand, there's also things that didn't appeal to me, and that is definitely the combat. I personally just didn't enjoy it. It's quite simple, but there's no way to get information about your moves or what each blob type is weak to, which I would have liked to know. Also, leveling up your blobs is a very slow progress and means taking part in a lot of battles, using all your abilities, as well as trying to feed and play with them daily to upgrade their health and stamina. And while we're on the topic of combat, I also found the blob world so difficult. I almost died straight away on the very first level, which surprised me as it's introduced to you so early on in the game. Overall, I did enjoy Ova Magica, and I do plan on going back to explore more of the game, see more of the events, and try out the blob breeding, which just sounds amazing. I also must romance Jade. I love her. Ultimately, this game is in early access, so there are some things you can't do yet, there are locked areas that you can't explore, and quests you can't complete. But for an early access game, I haven't encountered any bugs at all, which is really surprising, and it runs great on Steam Deck. Our final game was kindly gifted to me by the developers, and I was also sponsored to put together an overview of my first year in the game to showcase it to my community. I had also backed this one on Kickstarter though, and I had been waiting so patiently for it, because I loved Cozy Grove. I played the heck out of Cozy Grove, and I was so excited for a new game that was similar to it. The art style for this game is beautiful. It looks just like a storybook, and I love all of the different vegetables and fruits that you can meet in your garden, as well as the staple cast. Augustus is my favourite. I love him so much, but honestly, they're all so cute, and I want all of them to join my garden, which you can do by completing their quests. The garden path also has a lot of unique mechanics that help it to stand out. I loved the idea of exploring my garden and documenting all the plants I find, as well as collecting little clippings or resources, and I've actually started to recognise some of the plants and identify them in other games, which is really funny. Also, instead of using money to buy and sell things in a game, you actually trade the resources you've collected from the garden. So maintaining your garden and helping your plants grow also works in your best interest too. Whether you want to buy new clothing, or new furniture, or new tools, all of them come at the price of items from your garden. Having said that though, one of the things I like the least about this game is how it doesn't explain much to you. It took me so long to realize that there were different tiers of resources, so some are more valuable than others, as well as the constellations, the pigeonholes, how to catch bugs, and the tones are all quite confusing as well, and I don't think I fully understood them even by the end of my first year in the game. I would have liked more explanations around these aspects of it. Also, just by playing through the game, you'll end up collecting a lot of different items, from resources to trade to pages and wish tags that you dig up from the ground. But the more items you have on hand, the slower you go. And I ended up going really slow towards the end of my playthrough. I wanted to love this one so much, and I do think I'll come back in the future after hopefully a few quality of life updates, but for now it's going into my backlog. It's been a busy couple of months for me, but I still managed to play 10 games. Some of which I liked and others which didn't quite hit the mark. But I'd love to hear about your experiences. Have you played any of the games mentioned in this video, and what did you think about them? And have you played any games that I haven't mentioned in this video? Let me know about them in the comments because I would love to play games recommended by the community. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!